I'm just curious how you would feel today if you knew that you weren't going to be experiencing duality in the same way anymore for much longer. If you knew that life itself was about to completely change along with your frequency, along with your ability to see truth, to see beyond the veil, to see magic everywhere. If you knew that these were your last moments functioning as a human in this same way, what is it that you would enjoy differently about the experience? What is it that you would maybe melt into, lean into, instead of resisting? How would you step into this knowing that more so who you are is this eternal being who is completely one with unconditional love, who is already a master manifester, who has lived on planes of existence where you think of something you want and it manifests instantly, and you don't have to go through these processes of feeling lack or scarcity or fear or separation from love, but that you chose to come here and have this experience of perceived separation so that you could learn more about yourself, learn more about what love truly means. So if you knew that you came here for that purpose, and yet you are no longer going to be learning in that same frequency, in that same density, and you're going to have a very different human experience moving forward, how would you surrender more deeply to it today and be more curious rather than potentially, if you've been resistant of these human experiences? I know that I can feel that way sometimes, and it just feels like we have to fight against it in order to change it. But the truth is that if our souls came here to learn through this, what you might think of as a lower frequency, which I think it is a lower frequency, if we came here to learn through this lower frequency, and in order to kind of complete those lessons and really solidify this shift that we know is here, that is happening right now, how would you view it differently? That you came here to learn these lessons, and that these lessons can only be completed upon our deep surrender and our deep willingness to complete them and learn them fully, and that as we resist them more and more and see them as punishment or something wrong or bad happening that we need to change, instead of seeing them as a gift from our divine self helping us to grow and expand as a soul, when we resist them in that way, we prolong the pain and the suffering. So how can we surrender today to what is showing up and ask to be shown the divine gift in all of it? Just a thought. I'm human too, so I'm still practicing this, and sorry, it's so shaky, but I don't usually record videos from this space, but I was just sitting here thinking about what is the most freeing perspective I can have today as I navigate this transition. Because if you guys have been watching my other videos, you know that I've really been in it lately and I've been feeling a lot of confusion. But it's funny because there's always an option we have to flow with this process of life and surrender to it and see it from this higher perspective that allows us to really be in the human experience of it without so much resistance and suffering. And when we can kind of tap into that frequency, especially at the beginning of the day, we can start to see the magic and the beautiful soul lessons that we're learning through this process. And one other thing that I wanted to share is this outlook that I've been having on the pain that I've experienced, because I was thinking about, if I had not experienced the pain that I experienced in my childhood, if I had not experienced those years of struggling, of feeling like an outsider, of feeling like everyone around me was manifesting or getting what they wanted so easily, and I felt cursed, I felt broken, I felt like nothing worked out for me, and I just felt like, compared to everyone else, I was really, really struggling. And of course, I was comparing on a surface level at the time, but that was my story, right? But I've been realizing now how those experiences are why I'm here in this moment, remembering who I am, remembering that I am source. It's that pain that shifted me out of the matrix, out of survival mode, out of doing things normally. I learned I didn't fit in anyway. I was more sensitive. I was never going to be able to thrive in the traditional path. And so I went to this whole other experience of devoting myself to this spiritual awakening and this healing. And if I hadn't gone through everything that I went through in my childhood that made me feel like an outsider, I would be far less compassionate and understanding and far more judgmental, right? Because when you don't go through struggle, it's easy to judge people who are going through things that are incomprehensible to you. But when you've struggled, when you've gone through so much in your human experience, it is so much easier to have compassion for all once you start to create that compassion for yourself. So I feel like I've been really starting to see what a gift the pain was and how it led me to this path where I'm now realizing who I am, remembering who I am, and tapping into that power and breaking free from these systems, from this human slavery that's going on in the world. And it's like, all I wanted as a kid was to fit in and to have a normal life and to be accepted. But thank God for that rejection, right? Thank God for that redirection. Thank you to me at a higher self level for creating this plan, because I am a wild soul and I never would have been able to to feel true joy on that more traditional path. Although I may have been accepted in society, it wasn't what was meant for me. And so I've just been tapping into immense gratitude for that pain, because it cracked me open to truth, it cracked me open to love, and it cracked me open to what my soul is truly here to do, which is embody freedom by not needing anybody to approve of me or understand me or like me. And it's like, having gone through that in my childhood, now talking about like ascension on social media and all of my innermost thoughts and feelings and emotions and the struggles that I'm facing, it is this beautiful path where I'm getting to connect with humans who are on this really deeply real and authentic journey of remembering who we are again. And there's nothing more that I would have wanted for myself other than this at a deep soul level. I may not have known that in my childhood, but I know that now. So to kind of coexist with my earlier message, how can we realize that although these struggles and the pain and the trauma and the suffering was dark and heavy, and still is often when we feel into it, that it is here to crack us open to love. It is here to push us towards our freedom. It is here to develop deep compassion for all, because it is only through the deep forgiveness for ourselves, the compassion that we give to ourselves for all the pain that we've been through, the understanding of why it happened and that it wasn't our fault, where we forgive ourselves, where we're able to give that to others and to truly be that non-judgmental space for this world and for humanity to heal. I feel like there's really nothing that anyone could tell me that would make me judge them. It would just make me curious as to what led them to do that or to choose that. And I think that's such a beautiful quality to have in a world where we're so quick to judge. So if your trauma made you more curious about the world and made you more compassionate, then job well done. And yeah, I'm sending you so much love as we navigate this time together, because it's been quite intense for me. I don't really know. Honestly, the past few weeks of this ascension journey have felt like the most confused I've ever felt, have felt like I've been really distracted and wanting to do a lot and wanting to kind of almost go back into those old ways of functioning, of just remaining busy so I don't have to feel. But I've been also having these massive breakthroughs anytime I do slow down, anytime I do feel, and just this honoring of that old human conditioning of trying to stay busy. It feels like it's more of like a cleansing out than an actual return to those old programs and patterns. Sometimes we have to revisit those things. So I'm just so curious what you guys have been going through, if you've been feeling that confusion or that pull to stay busy again and to avoid your emotions or avoid stillness. I know that that goes through phases and waves in my life, but yeah, I want you to know that whatever it is that you're going through at this time, if you were guided to watch this video and if you resonate with what I'm saying, we are in a massive, massive purge, a massive cleansing. And can you feel the change that's in the air in October? Because I've been feeling this all year, that October is just going to be a massive month, and I can't wait to share when I'm on the other side of this change, because you know it's never what you truly expect. So yeah, sending you guys so, so much love. You've got this. You're not alone. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.